So I'm back today to show you a sloper video. So I know I've promised this for quite some time, but I'm going to position the camera above my little workstation and show you start to finish how I am going to draft a specific dress. So the dress that I'm drafting is a princess seam dress with a sweetheart neckline. So I'm going to walk you through that whole process on paper, and then at the end of the video I'll show you the dress all finished, me wearing it. So I'm not going to talk long here because that is going to take a little while, but I did want to show you what I was wearing. So this, I did show you guys this in, I think, my handmade wardrobe video ages ago, but I don't think I've ever worn it for you guys. So this is actually another dress that I drafted from my slopers for the bodice. And the bodice part, when I drafted it, it's princess seams as well, but the princess seams come from the shoulder all the way down instead of the one we're going to do is going to come from the armhole. So yes, and then the bottom part of it is just a quarter skirt, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's long, it goes all the way to the floor, but it has a slit in it to make it easier to move in. So I'm going to walk you through that process, and then I will be back to show you the dress all finished. Okay, bye. Okay guys, so what I have here are my slopers. This is my front sloper and my back bodice sloper. So I'm going to show you how I made the dress, my most recent dress. So first I'm going to trace each of these onto the paper. So I'm lining up the center front to the edge of the paper here, and then just trace around the edge of it. And when you're doing your sloper, wherever there's the leg of the darts, there's a notch there, so the pencil kind of just goes into it. And not just the darts, but anywhere there's like a line, or like at the bust line, there's a notch, and at the waist. So just going through down to the waist. I'm not going to trace past the waist because I'm only doing this as a bodice for a dress. Then I'm tracing, I have these little holes for the ends of the darts. So that looks good. So then that's what it looks like once I've traced it. Hope you guys can see that. Okay. Then I just connect the dots. So I'm connecting these two down here, across here. This is my cross front, connecting across the cross front. So this is my shoulder dart up here. So from this leg all the way down to this point, I'm going to just draw in, draw in that dart, and then do the same thing. This is my armhole dart. It all goes, this is the bust point right here. So all these legs go into the bust. And then my side bust dart. So I'm just drawing in all of these, and then we'll play with them once we have it set. Last dart is down here for the waist. So I'm just connecting to that point there. Now I'm showing you guys this with slopers, but you don't have to do it on a sloper. Like if you just had a simple pattern piece, you could play with it like I'm getting ready to show you with that too. You don't necessarily have to have a sloper. So now I've got all of these traced off, and what I'm going to do is manipulate these three darts, my shoulder, my armhole, and my bust dart, into one. So I don't want to have all these three. I want to make them into one, because what I'm doing is I want to make this a princess seam instead of having all these different darts. So to do that, we have to come in and cut one leg of the dart all the way down to that point. So I did the shoulder one leg. It doesn't really matter which side you do, but I always do the same. So I started with the left up there. So now I'm going to do the left of the armhole. Sometimes it comes off like that. That's okay. I just clipped it a little bit too much. Not a big deal for this part. And then this one all the way in. I try to leave it like that where I can actually turn it, but didn't do it. So now I'm going to connect this shoulder dart up here. So I got rid of the shoulder dart by bringing that line together. So I cut one side and then connected it so it touched the other side of the dart. So that makes this side. Now the shoulder dart is out. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the armhole dart. So I take this piece and I'm covering it up over the armhole piece over here. Like that. So now I'm getting rid of my armhole dart. Like that. Looks good. Okay, so I've taken out this shoulder. I've taken out the armhole. Now I'm gonna draw in the princess seam line. So the seam, how I want it to look. So basically what I'm gonna do here is have it come from somewhere here in the armhole part and then have it connect onto this side of the dart. Doesn't have to do that, but it definitely makes your job easier if you have it connect to the waist dart. Sorry, that's the washing machine is finished. So then I'm going to just draw the French curve, this new princess seam. Okay, so this is my new seam here. And it almost, like I cut off a little bit on the top of that dart there and a tiny bit at the bottom. I'm not really worried about that. If it was more, I might be worried. You can also come back, like if that bothered you, you want it to be more, you can just draw in like that, you know, kind of change the angle a little bit so it does include that whole dart. Then you're gonna come back and cut on that line. So cut on that curved line that you just drew. Okay, just cut that off for now. And then this, I had cut it before. I should have waited to show you, but this was the other side of the dart. So I cut the other side of the dart. So now this was the waist dart and we're just taking that out. So that's no longer in there. And then all we have left was here. Remember, we didn't get rid of the bust dart yet because you couldn't turn the paper because it was still connected over here. So now we can do that. So now you're just gonna come in here and line up that line to the line that's already there, like that, and tape that down. So what we've done, now, if you guys haven't done any pattern making stuff, I know this is kind of a lot, but what we did is we took all those darts, the shoulder, the armhole, and the bust dart, and we cut them so that we took out all those darts, and now that dart is brought into this princess seam. So you can see now, like if I try to hold them up to each other, like there's this huge gap right here. That's the shoulder, the armhole, and the bust dart all here. So that's now gonna be included in a princess seam instead of in all those darts. So that's how you make a princess seam from something that doesn't have one. So then I'm just gonna cut out this side piece. If it doesn't line up perfectly like right here, I just kind of smooth that over. So just kind of make it look like a more straight line. Same thing here at the armhole. Just kind of cut it so that it does look more smooth. This one, I'm just gonna cut off that little jagged tip there, like that, okay? And you can cut the rest of your part here. I'm gonna cut the bottom, but I'm gonna show you one more thing that I did here. So for the dress that I have, now I'm not positive this is exactly the same. I can show you the pieces afterwards. It'll be very, very similar, but you know, I might have not drawn the exact same curve in there. So this is the princess seam. I did that part first, but on the dress I wanted it to have kind of a sweetheart neck, and then I wanted it to kind of come in a little bit here and then come back out at the shoulder. So I wanted the width of the strap to be the whole width of my shoulder there, but for it to come in, so it has kind of a neat design line. So all you have to do there is, on my sloper, this hits like right at the little divot spot, like on your neck. I don't know what you call that spot, but it's there. And so I decided how far down I wanted my shirt or my dress to come. So this, you can just measure, you know, like if you like it to come down low, show a little bit of cleavage, then you can just come down low. If you don't like it that low, you know, that's where you decide how far you want it to come down. I'm gonna see how far I did mine, I can't remember. So what is that? About 4 3/4. So 4 3/4, I'm just gonna mark right there. And then I used the French curve to decide how much of a sweetheart neckline you want. So let's just say something like that. And then from this point, you'll just connect it up there to that edge of your shoulder, that straight line. Okay, so that makes this new piece. So I'm going to cut out this piece now along my lines here, and then across the top again, like see how that line came down a little bit? I just went straight across. And then I'm going to cut on my new lines here that I drew in. So I'm going down and then cut on my sweetheart neckline. Okay, so what I have now is my center front piece. So I'm just going to draw a little thing here. I write as much as I can on these so I remember. So that needs to be cut on the fold. And then you can draw a grain line in if you want. If it's on the fold, obviously just follow that line. That's your grain line. And then write that this is front. Okay. So now we're going to do the back piece. Same thing, back is simpler though because you don't have the bust, so that makes it easier. But you start the same way, just trace it off, or if you're using a pattern, just trace off the pattern. Definitely the more basic your pattern, the easier it'll be to do different style changes to it. So I'm just tracing off down to the waist, again, not all the way down, marking my points. Okay, and then I'm going to use a ruler again, connect my line at the bottom across the waist. My pencil keeps dying on me. Okay. And then my waist dart here. Connect that one. And then just the shoulder dart. So on the back you only have two darts usually to do. And this back dart could be different ways. You know, you might not even have it. Just totally depends on the pattern itself. So then what I'm gonna do here is I don't want this back shoulder dart. I don't, because I'm doing a princess seam, I don't want that in there. So I'm gonna shave it off. So instead of manipulating it out like I did on the front, I'm just gonna take it out. So this dart is 5/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna mark it 5/8 and I'm gonna shave that part off. So I'm gonna X out that dart so I know not to use it. And then this will be my new curve. Okay, because it's not in there anymore. Now we're gonna do the same thing and mark our princess seam. So usually when I do the princess seams on the back, I do them up higher on the armhole. It's totally up to you. It just is kind of how it ends up working with the waist dart. And I think it looks nice too. So I'm gonna draw in princess seam on the back. And then the back part is really easy because you're just cutting out this dart now, and that'll be your side piece. And this is your back piece. So I'm gonna start on this side of the leg and cut around on that princess seam dart that we just drew. So the back neckline, when I was doing this dress, I actually wanted to leave it as high as I could. I liked the idea of it coming up high, but I ended up bringing it down because I only had a 14-inch invisible zipper, and I wanted it to come at least a couple inches into the skirt part. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get it on and off. If it just stopped at the waist, I thought it would be a little bit too tight getting over my hips. So I did move that down a little bit. So all I did there was I just figured out, you know, how far I wanted to go down. So that could be like 2 inches. Same like we did the front. And then you just scoop it out here, the French curve. Usually try to make this first part here kind of flat before you start curving. Just makes it easier when you're sewing. So I pulled that down a little bit. And then we just label. So this is the back, back center. Now this will be cut. So cut to, because we're gonna put the zipper in here. Sometimes I'll just do like a little zipper, you know, you don't really need that, but just to remind myself. And this is the back side. We need 2 of those too. Now, none of these have seam allowances. Where did my piece go? None of these have any seam allowances on them, so I will write that. I'll just say no seam allowance, so that when I go to cut it out, I remember I have to add seam allowance, because that can be a problem. If your pattern already has seam allowance in it, like the one you're working from originally, my slopers don't, that's why I don't have it in here, but if they do, then you might just have to add it a couple places wherever you added lines, you know? So I just find it easier to start with no seam allowances, but depends on what you have. So what we have here, let me get these pieces. So this is our front pieces, front bodice, front side, back, and back. And you can see how the dart got manipulated into that princess seam for that as well. So now we've made it into a princess seam. We've done a little different fun thing on the neckline. And this is the same, so this is the pattern I actually made before, and you can tell it's very similar, slightly different. I brought that up a little bit higher. So very similar though, just slightly different. So that's what we did. So now I'm gonna put it all together. I'll sew the top part, and for this dress what I'm doing is I'm lining the top. So I'm cutting double of these. I'll cut 2 on the fold, 4, 4, and 4 of these, and I'll fully line the bodice. And then for the skirt part, I'm doing a full skirt. So I'm just a full circle skirt. I'm just gonna cut that as I go. And then I will show you guys the finished product. I'll put on the dress and show you what it looks like. Okay. Okay guys, so here is the dress that I drafted. So you can see the princess seam that we did in the front down to the waist, and then a very slight sweetheart that comes up there. And the back comes down just a little bit, but it's pretty close to the top of my neck. And then there's an invisible zipper, comes down to like there. And then the skirt is just a full circle skirt, which is fun to do. You know, I like to add just the circle skirts on the bottom a lot because you put so much time in the top, and the circle skirt always looks good and it's fun and flowy. So yeah, and this, I don't know if you guys remember, I had that, I think it was it's my shift dress, and it's this same fabric, but it's pink. The background is pink with these flower decals on it. And this one I bought at the same time. It's blue with these decals on it. So yeah, I had it sitting in my stash forever, and I was like trying to decide what would be the right thing for it. And then one night I just was trying to fall asleep, and I started thinking about this dress and how I want it to look, and I thought, oh, that blue fabric would be good with it. So I actually made it for a wedding this past weekend and wore it there, which was very fun. So yeah, I hope that that wasn't too complicated. I mean, I know it's a lot if you haven't done any pattern making before, but I thought just to see the process, you know, even if you didn't quite get it or feel like you could go and do it on your own, to see the process of how, you know, from paper, how to make it, and then to 3D, actually see what that looks like. Two, maybe because then if you're looking at patterns, you can, you know, be able to tell, like, if the pattern looks like that, you know, this is what it's gonna look like in real life. So I don't know, you can let me know what you think about that, the first sloper to dress video. If you guys liked it and thought it wasn't too complicated, or it was interesting, then I will happily do more, because I love that step. I love going from the paper and designing it and figuring out what you want it to look like and then making it. So it's really fun for me, and I will happily share the process as I go if you would like. So yes, let me know what you think, and hopefully it wasn't too long, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.